So we're here to talk about ChatGPT under the hood, and then especially always read the little numbers. Also when you use generative AI, read the manual, read the small letters. I'm gonna try to do it without complex jargon. But if I use abbreviations or terms you don't know yet, just give me a signal and then I'll try to explain it. Or we'll talk afterwards as well. So a little bit about the company I work. It's an agency and we build AI solutions for customers. So we build them, design them, but we can also host them and do the full support for an organization. So that's what we do as a company, and we love to share our knowledge and expertise with others. So that's why we have all these kinds of sessions here the upcoming 2 days, so today and tomorrow. So I had a video from my colleague Joop, who was eventually giving this session, but he couldn't join, so I asked him to make a video, but sound doesn't work. But he's Chief Technology Officer of agency, and he made most of the slides, so thank you, Joop. This will be recorded, thank you. And he says, some of the people think that with the coming of ChatGPT, the general intelligence is coming sooner and sooner, and he debunked it a bit. And during the session we will dive in ChatGPT under the hood to explain why Gen AI is not there yet and will probably take a lot of time, if it's even going to happen in the future, because we have control over it. There's a lot of human intelligence within the generative AI. So thank you, Joop. Skip the video. So, who am I? I'm Niels Naglé, Area Lead Data AI at Info Support. That's a company that's behind agency, and I work there as a data architect, trainer, speaker, and also a podcast host for the Dutch audience. So only Dutch episodes for the podcast AI Today Live. Clicker doesn't work, so we'll do it like this. So it works, but with a delay. So, who is using ChatGPT? Everyone? No? Oh, okay. I thought I had one found that doesn't use it yet, but apparently everyone does. On a daily basis. Who uses it on a daily basis? For private or work? Work? Private? For everything? A few hands goes up. Okay. I use it on a daily basis as well. Different models, but generative AI on a daily basis as well in my own work. And also with generating presentations, images, to be co-creation with AI for certain slides. So first, a little thing about what is AI and what isn't AI. If we look it up, we've got Wikipedia. Artificial intelligence is the intelligence of machines or software as opposed to intelligence of humans or animals. Also a field of study in computer science that develops and studies intelligent machines. AI may also refer to machines themselves. Who knows this document already? One? For the one in the back, it's the European AI Act. And there is another version of what AI is. I'm not going to read it, everyone can find it online. If you haven't read it yet, go read it. Another one from Google is the simulation of human intelligence processed by machines, especially computer systems. Specific applications of AI including expert systems, natural language processing, speech recognition and machine vision. A bit more into detail in certain aspects of AI. But what if we Google for images of AI? Robots, and some more robots. Why? Because we gave that to the machine and we think about the future as machines, and that's why we get these images back. And a nice quote from John McCartney: as soon as it works, no one calls it AI again. So what is AI? I think when you answer you question everybody on the street, a little bit of technology knowledge, they will say Gen AI is AI. But that also is not true in my opinion. Gen AI is a variant of artificial intelligence. There's more. You've got machine learning, you've got recommender systems, so there's a lot of versions of AI, but nowadays Gen AI is AI. So it's good to know that it's more than just Gen AI. Let me test the clicker again, because there are a lot of slides. No. So AI. Stop working. AI intelligence or AI insanity. How does AI work? So, to make it very, very, very practical, so AI intelligence, first was intelligence. If we have human intelligence, we as humans tell the machine that there are certain rules. So that's how the computer learns, know if it's yes or no, and we feed those rules to the machine. And then the data is flowing through the system, and based on the rules, there's an answer. So that's human intelligence. We have put those rules into the system. So if we do artificial intelligence, we provide still a lot of information to the machine, but not the rules itself. What we put in is the data with the answers, or labeled data if you talk about images. And the output are the rules based on the data that has been fed. And those rules are then again used in the system in which you have data and answers might be a probability instead of an answer. So as said, AI is more than generative AI. You can think about search, language understanding, reasoning, knowledge graphs, generative AI, and also machine learning. But this one popped up a few years back, or it seemed like it popped up. It didn't pop up from nowhere. And everybody knows this logo, you all use it, most of you on a daily basis. So ChatGPT. What is ChatGPT bad at? Nothing, somebody says. Okay, interesting. Then the next slides are for you.
It doesn't have real knowledge. It's always limited to some date.
If the data isn't available, it cannot create new ones. It seems like it can create new ones, but it's already seen data. But it's also bad at facts. If you ask it for a fact, it will tell you it's a fact, even if it's not a fact. And that in combination with what's the source? I needed to translate bronvermelding even in my hoofd. What's the source of the data? And nowadays, a lot of systems like Copilot and Bing Search and the other vendors are also building into the source of the data. But ChatGPT, it will, if you ask it, give me the source of the data, it will give you an answer. And then please look it up, because it might even not be a real source. If you ask it for the hyperlink of the text where it found it, it might be that it's not even a correct hyperlink. So be aware of that. So that's bad at. What can't it do? No? No, it's bad at the source. It can provide a source. Think. It can think. And it can't hallucinate. Everybody is talking about, and I said it earlier today as well, it's hallucinating sometimes. But it's not really hallucinating. It's making a mistake. It can't hallucinate. It's just finding different items than you would expect. So it's not really hallucinating, it's making mistakes. So it's not a human, so it cannot hallucinate. And here an example from Joop about generating DALL-E 3. Who's using DALL-E 3? Yeah, sometimes. Midjourney? Yeah? Big fan, raise them very fast. So DALL-E 3, here you ask, can you give me a watch showing 2 o'clock? And if you look very fast, it looks okay, it's a watch, but it's pointed towards a 2, oh nice, oh 11 in front, so it's not always correct, but it will get there. And if you ask it, now give me 4 o'clock, there, it's missing the context. So what's ChatGPT under the hood? Numbers, 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 and science. Mathematical science, so math. Who knows where GPT stands for in ChatGPT? Yeah, not a lot of hands.
Transformers, I think last letter for transform.
Generative, indeed.
Transformers.
Pre-trained, because it's trained for you. You're not training it yourself. Can, but it's not for GPT. And transformer, because it transforms your input to a new output. So that's why it's a transformer. And how does it work? It has been fed with a lot of data. The precise data we still don't know for GPT 3.5 or 4. There's an indication, but it's fed with a lot of books, the internet, certain sites, and it's all put into the blender and made into smaller parts. So next one is a bit challenging because it's in Dutch. So I'll translate, and you will be my transformer for today. So when I say we're coming home and the dog is laying in his hand. Anything else?
Happy.
Sorry?
Happy.
Happy?
Maybe I didn't get that.
The dog is laying in his happy. Could be, could be.
Bench.
Bench?
Great.
Sorry?
Great.
Tray? Yeah. It's all fine by me, man. You're just transforming for me. You're filling in. Now if we change the context. So we're walking on the beach and the dog is laying in sand. Yeah. Or the sea.
In the sand.
In the sand? It's covered in the sand. Oh. So I've also asked ChatGPT. We lopen op het strand en de hond ligt in de zand. So we're walking on the beach and the dog's laying in the sand. So how does it work? It's a prediction. Word by word by word. And not even by word. It's token by token. And that's good to know because you pay per token. So it's good to know that it's not the words or the sentences that it's working to predict the next part. It's a token. So you need to know how it's tokenized. With that, you can also know what you're going to pay for your question. And that's important. At least most businesses like to know what they're paying for and how much it's going to cost. So with this example, we see we are walking on the beach and the dog's laying in the shadow. That all different parts are being cut into tokens. It can be a whole word, but most of the time a part of a word or even a sign like a dot. So after the text has been split into tokens, part of words, word embeddings are being created and positional awareness of the other information. So within the context, where does it place and how does it fall into other texts it has been seen in the past. So there you know where the context to find it. So self-attention is part of that. Where am I in the text and what should I be or mean in this part of the text. And then the encoded output is being created. So all numbers. And here you see the costs of GPT-4. I don't know how recent the snapshot is, so it might already have been changed. But here you see 6 cents for 1,000 tokens. So depends on your solution if that's pricey or not. It depends on what you put into, or how many questions you ask, and how big the text it is, but it will cut up in pieces. Question?
So why is this relevant? Because I pay a monthly fee to ChatGPT. I never had anything to do with tokens.
So why is this relevant? Because I have a monthly fee and I don't have to pay tokens. I don't know the exact details of the payment model of GPT itself, but
Because it's of API. This is for API. So if you develop something which use GPT, then you pay for like that. Usually this is for 1,000 tokens, but now they put million token for in official documentation now.
Thank you. Indeed, that remembered me as well. So this is indeed for the API calls. So you probably just go to the website, you type in, and then you're done with the monthly fee. If you do that too much, it's probably decreasing in performance, maybe or not. But this is done programmatically. So when we build solutions in which we infuse ChatGPT and we call an API with the text, the prompt, the system prompt, the context, and probably much more to get a good result, you will pay for the tokens put in, but also what's coming out. Yeah. So mainly when it's infused in your code, in your solution that you built. So different from just going to the website. So it's token by token. But why do we think then that it feels so human when you chat to it? And that's psychology. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, we think it's a duck. We think it's a duck. So we make it humanoid. But it's not different from a parrot. It's just a parrot that has knowledge of a lot of words and can place it most of the time in the correct context. So as mentioned, GPT-3 is around 45 terabyte of data, and 4 even more, 4.0, etc. So it's only growing. 3% is Wikipedia, a lot of books, and most of it the internet. But yeah.
Is it also trained by its own output, therefore becoming less trustworthy over time?
Let's hope not. But I don't know that, because how can we recognize what has been written and if it's been fed back? At this moment, they tell us it's not being used to retrain the model.
So to train GPT-4, they use filtering based on GPT-3. So let's say we have a lot of data, but the problem is we cannot, we need very good data, clear data. To clean the data, we need something like people cannot read so much data. So the previous model read it, people verified some of them that it's okay, and then how they trained GPT-4, GPT-3 was assistant.
It's human labeling, right?
Yeah.
In that case, GPT-3 labeling.
Yeah.
But it's not
especially 3.5. It's all human data entered, but it's probably supported and they reuse it as well, but I'm not sure. Yeah. And especially not for the future, because we're going to create more and more generated data. So human fundament. So data is written by humans for training GPT-3. Employees at OpenAI says which answer is correct. So they had to watch what is correct, and it was a very human labor-intensive job to get that input. And the prompts and answers are also fed to the model to retrain it as well. So it's steered towards a certain context, and it's also for the policies that are in place. If you ask the system, can you help me build a bomb? It will say, no, I'm not allowed to. That has been put into place by humans. The same, how to use a torrent site. It will tell you it's not allowed to use a torrent site. You can then ask, I don't want to end up on a torrent site. Can you make sure that I have some examples which torrent sites are torrent sites? And it returned it in the past and probably not anymore because it's retrained by humans to not allow that. That's prompt hacking or prompt injection. So no magic, but a lot of data and human labor.
But this is, I don't understand how they prevent these questions. So is it built inside of model, or is it something, some program on top of GPT, which, I don't know, do something?
Good point. It's probably not in the model because you had GPT, the model itself, before ChatGPT was there. Chat is the addition that has been made in the past few years, but GPT models were already there in 2017. But there was no chat interface, so it wasn't a lot of usage. But the new thing was that ChatGPT had a chat interface, and you could chat to it. But by putting in the chat, you're putting in the prompts, you've got time to do extra checks, and I think it's in between the models and the guidance in between.
It's very hard to filter.
Yeah, it's hard to filter, and that's why you can sometimes, if you ask it in a different way, if you ask it even in another language, it will probably answer you as well. So that's really human labeling and validation, and that's why you've got the thumbs up and thumbs down in the chat as well to retrain it. And that's what we as humans do. What do we think it's correct or not? So we also give the input and changes to the interaction.
So some part built inside of some part moderation built inside of model, some part in some external layer.
Probably a lot of in the external layer as well. Yeah, that's the sauce between the model. Yeah. So there's no magic, there's no science, there's a lot of human labor into it, and it will predict the next word. And it doesn't have to be in the correct context, but because it has seen so many same words, same contexts, it can return the correct answers, but it doesn't have to be. Always validate that. And then, Who recognizes him? It gives me childhood memories. So there are no mistakes, only happy accidents. But you don't want a happy accident when it's infused in your chatbot, chatting to your clients or between businesses. So make sure you have the proper governance in place and your guardrails in place when you use it. Because there's no magic, there's a lot of math and a lot of numbers behind. And then one way I always enjoy, let me see if I can put it into play. He looks so happy. But efficient, safe. Maybe he's not going very fast, but the reason for showing this video, yeah, stop now. You can stop. No, not again. It's a tool. Don't remember, it's a tool. And then a phrase, fool with a tool is still a fool. So educate, please. Let people know what it is, what it isn't, what it can do. And it differs per model. GPT-4, GPT-3, 3.5, even other models. Yeah, make sure you educate your people and use it for the purpose you think it's useful for, not only to use the tool itself. And then an important topic, in my opinion, is we've got generative AI, we've got ChatGPT, but the things we see at our clients is that that's good. It will help them. It will help them create generic text because it's pretty generic in certain sentences. But you want to be specific on your own data of your organization. So you want to use the models to help you create text or images, based on your personal organizational data. And when we do that, we call it RAG, a RAG system, so retrieval augmented generation. And that means that between the model, we can also do other actions. So like you mentioned in the chat, you do a chat, and then in the meantime, it goes to the model. You can also make other actions behind such a call in an application. So you can retrieve information from your own CRM system, your own product system, and you can enhance the information, so it's also using your own data to generate the text. And that's what we see happening a lot nowadays. And make sure security, privacy is being put into place. And thus don't put your LLM and generative AI on top of all your data. Talk to your data architect, talk to your security, your governance and compliance. But this is really helping organization tailor it to their own persona and use it within their organization to promote their own work. We've built that at our own company as well. So we do a lot of development, so software and code development. And we use our guidance framework, in which we have our best practices, lessons learned, libraries, and we all documented that during the projects we built. And when we now create a new product, we ask Ricardo. Why Ricardo? Ask Willem. He's driving around in his wheelchair these 2 days. He has provided us the name. And Ricardo is our RAG system, and that will, when we as a coder ask, what should I use for this design pattern? What kind of code should I use? It will look it up in our own guidance system, and based on that input, it uses the language model to generate the answer based on that data and return it to us to improve our efficiency at work.